What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Mindset Cafe podcast. It's your boy Devin, and our goal here is just like always to help you on your journey of personal development, entrepreneurship, relationships, and all through mindset. And today we have another special guest for you guys. His name is Earl Kapule. He is the founder and owner of Lux Solar, as well as the founder and owner of Gratitude Mindset. So let's dive in. Earl, what got you started in solar, and then why did you transition into the gratitude mindset?
Yeah. So it was 2014. One of my friends asked me, "Hey, what do you do for work, or what is your background?" Because I wasn't working at the time, and I told him it was construction. But he told me, "Hey, we can use you to measure rooftops for solar panels. We need people to jump on the roof and measure how much panels we can fit on there." So I said, "Sure. I just gotta go to the Philippines for about a month, but I'll come back and then I'll start with you guys." And when I got back, that was taken. And he said, "Well, we have sales. We always have sales positions available." I was like, "Okay, well, what do you guys do?" He said, "We door knock and we help people go solar." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." But he was persistent, and he kept saying, "No, I think you'll like it. Your personality, you're laid back. I think people will like you." So I tried it out. That's how I got into it, and I did end up liking it. I got pretty good at it really quickly. But it was after about 2 or 3 years in the industry, knocking doors, getting success, helping my teammates get success. About 2, 3 years in, I started to find that I enjoyed training and teaching. For a long time, even before I got into solar, I've always liked teaching others and helping them personally and impacting them. And so I finally found something that I really like doing. I like door knocking. I like helping people go solar, save money, but impacting someone's life directly was just different for me. So that's when I realized, whoa, if I can help 10 solar reps sell more solar, then I get to help way more homeowners that way, right? And so at the end of the day, it came down to wanting to increase my impact.
Hey, that's crazy. That's one of your reasons. That's actually the reason for me and my business partner for our business. We're franchising our gym model, and same exact concept. Having to impact just us. Yeah, we can have an impact on gym owners and people like that, but having the ability to teach others on how to do it, now you can impact their members through your coaching and through your model. That's awesome. Um, with that and with the coaching for solar and stuff, what led into like the gratitude mindset, and why did you focus on like the gratitude mindset?
Yeah. So in 2019, I was invited to speak at a solar mastermind conference. And this was the first time I was invited to speak on a stage about all the things I've been posting on social media about selling solar. So I've built up an influence over the last couple of years, and then someone invites me to come and speak. So I had 60 days to prepare for that speaking engagement. And I said, okay, I'm going to make a list of things that has helped me over the last 5 years in solar. And so I made a list, and on there I put write down gratitude or spend 5 minutes being grateful, meditation, visualization, affirmations. So I made a long list, and I said I'm going to try to do all of these for 60 days, and whichever ones stick and whichever ones bring results, I'm going to create a presentation around that. And the reason I chose gratitude is because over the years I followed a lot of different people. One of the main people is Gary Vee, brings up gratitude all the time, but I never really practiced it intentionally, right? Because I would hear his message and I'm like, yeah, cool, gratitude is powerful. But at this point, I started like doing studies on them. I started researching it, and in these 60 days, I would just set a timer for 5 minutes, and then just try to think of as many things I can think about that I'm grateful for. And at the end of 60 days, I hit my goal, which was sign up 20 homeowners in 60 days to go solar. And I found that it was easier than before. Like I hit my goal faster and easier than before I was doing all of these things. So I look at the list and I was like, which one helped me the most? And it was easy. It was like, it's gratitude. Gratitude makes me feel so much happier and more efficient and confident about myself and about what I do and everything in my life. Because when I show appreciation for all these things, they just grow in value. And so I value them more because I'm constantly appreciating them. And so I brought that to the conference. Everybody loved it. And at the end of that conference, I was like, man, I got to start a brand around this. This is going to be my company, the gratitude mindset. And from then on, I just posted every day. I did a 365-day gratitude challenge and just built the gratitude mindset off of that.
So what like how would someone go about, in just like the beginning stages of developing a gratitude mindset?
Yeah. So I often do 30-day gratitude challenges when I work with teams and companies. And I tell people start with 30 days. And then every day you just set a timer for either 1 minute or 5 minutes, whatever is more comfortable for you. And you think about things you're grateful for. But the key is the power in gratitude is saying, I am grateful for blank because. So adding because and why you're grateful for it internalizes your gratitude. And so that's how I've helped people because usually people will just write down, I am grateful for my health and then move on. I am grateful for my house. Very general and simple, which is fine, but it gets more powerful when you internalize it and you say, well, why are you grateful for that?
And yeah, because you're taking like an extra step instead of just like the peeling back the onion. You're not just grateful for this physical thing or this relationship. You're actually explaining to yourself why and building that value of why you're grateful. That's huge. I've heard a lot of people preach the gratitude mindset and haven't actually heard someone explain it that way, where you have to elaborate and tell your subconscious, like, why are you actually grateful for this thing? Because some people
Yeah.
might not know. Some
Yep.
people will just say I'm grateful for it just to get the task done, but not
Yeah.
necessarily know why they're grateful.
Right.
With the gratitude mindset, do you think that practicing gratitude mindset, and I mean, especially you did the year challenge of it with yourself, do you think that it allows you to feel better and stay more focused and appreciate it more because you're not focusing on, let's say for solar, the deals that you're not getting and putting yourself in a negative mindset, and you're focusing on the positive, and focusing on that?
Yeah, 100%. So, gratitude, by looking at all the things that I have in my life to be grateful for, it allows me to get in a state of abundance. And so I talk to people about how, yeah, it's easy to look around and say you don't like this and you don't like that. What's more difficult and the reason for a gratitude practice is to dig deep and really look around at how many things you actually do have to be grateful for. Everyone has something to be grateful for at every moment. Like as long as you're alive and you have your eyesight, your ears, your nose, all of these, there's tons of things I can list off to every living person that can make them feel grateful. And it does help me to, yeah, focus, and just it just makes everything better when you start, like you said, reprogramming your subconscious. So when you said that, it reminded me that the reason I tell people to say why is because you're telling your reticular activating system, pay attention, I appreciate this thing because ABC, and then it's gonna put it into the subconscious. Hey, he said he likes this thing because of this. Let's write that down. Let's put that in the program. And then the more times you do it, it becomes a habit. And now you're just always appreciative. Now you say thank you to your spouse, to your coworkers, to the people you lead all the time because it's a habit now.
And I think that's such a key, and that brings out what I like to elaborate as like the ripple effect. So when you're showing gratitude and you're saying thank you, to your coworkers, to your wife, and so forth, and you're showing that appreciation, in turn, it makes them feel good, and it has that ripple effect on their day, their life, and also your relationship with them. Whether it is a coworker, whether it is, you and I meeting like this, it's one of those things where, again, you have a ripple effect on other people, and by showing gratitude, again, it affects them, right?
Yeah. I always say what you appreciate appreciates.
I
And
like that.
so, growing up, I always ask people wherever I go, I say, hey, how many of you every single day had a parent or someone in your family say to you, hey, Devin, I appreciate you for this, for that, like every day, right? And so, no wonder most people grow up feeling unappreciated, undervalued, right? And so, by first starting to appreciate yourself, you feel more appreciated and more valued. Then you can go pass that on to someone else that you love and appreciate. And then, yeah, you're right. They're going to feel more valuable and loved because they're receiving what they didn't receive when they grew up.
No, definitely. When you said that, you should be grateful because any day you wake up, you're grateful. It reminded me of this quote. I think I heard Brad Lee say it or someone say it, but he offered to, if I gave you $1 million, would you be excited? And then everyone's gonna say yes. If I give you $10 million, would you take it? Would you be excited? And everyone's like, yeah, of course. But if I told you, if when I give you this $10 million, you can't wake up tomorrow, would you still take it? And then everyone's like, well, no. Okay, so then you value your life and everything more than $10 million. Like you should be grateful at least that you woke up today, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
I saw that one. It's powerful.
that's like the biggest thing to me, and I think gratitude is definitely undervalued and overlooked so many times because we're in such a rush all the time. Um, so practicing that, I think it does have a huge impact, not on just yourself but on the people that you come in contact with every day. And how would you say, I know you mentioned earlier visualization and meditation, how do those play a role with you in gratitude?
Yeah. So at the gratitude mindset, we have four core exercises, and we call it the GIVE method. My wife came up with the acronym. It's GIVE. G stands for gratitude. So you spend time every morning or evening practicing gratitude. I stands for introspection or meditation. And then V is visualization, and E is energize. So anything to energize your body. And so we try to do a mind, body, spirit exercise every day. With meditation, the way I see it is it's a practice or an exercise that allows you to increase your ability to concentrate, focus, and be in the present moment. And so I teach people different ways to practice meditation because most people think it's just closing your eyes and trying to think of nothing. I'm like, no,
Right.
that's not really what it is. Like, they're like, I suck at doing that. Like, that's not what it is. There's so many different ways of doing it. And so one exercise I'll give people is choose anything to focus on for 1 minute. Like, I like to use a candle flame or a video of a candle flame, and I tell them focus on that flame and watch how it moves, and try to stay present with the flame for 1 minute. If you get distracted, which you will in 5 seconds, come back to it. But when you come back to it, you just did one repetition. Kind of like when you lift the dumbbell up and you put it back down, that was one repetition, right? So every time you get distracted and come back to the candle, it's one repetition. And the more repetitions you do, the more focused you become on whatever it is you're trying to focus on. In that moment, it's the candle. But throughout your day, if there's something you intentionally are trying to focus on, the mind is now going to remember that exercise you just did, and now it's going to say, oh, okay, let's focus on this. He wants to focus on this. Let's not distract him. And all of my clients, they're like, yeah, I was more focused this day just by doing that 1 minute exercise. So the meditation helps with that, just keeping you back in the present moment. Visualization. If you follow, so I follow Joe Dispenza, and he says manifestation takes two things: a clear intention and an elevated emotion. When you match the two, you create your desired outcome. And so with gratitude, that automatically elevates your emotions. And then visualization, it helps you create clear intentions in your life. And so I tell people, growing up, we used our imaginations a lot. But at some point in our life, we stopped, right? It was like, it's time to be an adult. Imagination is for the kids. But the most successful people all throughout history use their imaginations all throughout their life. You look at even Kobe Bryant, like he imagined himself playing basketball all the time. And so with visualization, same thing. I'll tell people to start small. With a lot of these exercises, people start with a high intensity, and that keeps them from consistency. So I always tell people, and you probably tell your clients this as well. Start with low intensity, and then you increase the intensity as you after you create consistency. So with visualization, same thing, 1 minute. And I'll tell people start with just visualizing your day, right? Don't try to visualize yourself in a Lamborghini or in a mansion. Just visualize yourself having a good day today. Practice that. And then over time, you get better and you can start visualizing yourself 6 months from now, 1 year from now. And as you get good at creating images and pictures and movies in your mind, then you start to create your life with that emotion and that clear intention. So that's kind of how I pair all those exercises together, because they all go together. When you look at any podcast or any successful person, they'll bring up those three exercises for sure.
No, definitely. I've heard other people reference it in different ways. The candlelight thing, whether it's a real candle or a video of a candle, honestly, I think that it doesn't sound that hard, but I already know trying to stare and focus, intently focusing on that flame, a minute is a long time. Like, you know,
Yeah.
because your mind and our minds wander so easily nowadays and we're distracted. We have the attention span of a goldfish. So really trying to focus on that. That's honestly, I'm gonna start doing that one myself. That's a huge one. Um, with visualization, I want to kind of touch into this with you and see what your thoughts are. What do you what do you think that it has, or does it have a play on like the conscious and then subconscious, and like what is the importance if it does?
Yeah. So studies have shown that up to 95% of our thoughts, feelings, and actions every day is coming from what's in the subconscious. Well, what's in the subconscious? The subconscious is a record of the past. So, all of your life experiences, everything you've seen, everything you've done, felt, and heard in your life is in your subconscious. So, what is visualization doing? It's changing the subconscious by seeing more, feeling more, hearing more, doing more in your mind. So, you don't have to go out and do all of these different things and spend years to reprogram your subconscious because you can do it all in your mind. You can see yourself doing multiple things all throughout the years in the future in your mind. Like, for example, Roger Bannister, the man who broke the 4 minute mile, and he was asked, how did you do it? He said, every day when I was training on the track, I would imagine the clock saying 3:59 as I crossed the finish line every time I ran on the track. So he broke the record in his mind so many times. So at that point, the subconscious got to a point where, like, whoa, so we've already broken the record. We've done it so many times. This is the day that we're going to break the record, but we've already done it before. So there's no need to doubt. There's no need to push. We've done it so many times. It comes easy. And so now he believed that he'd already done it. So that's what people mean by you have to believe that you've already done it. You have to rehearse it in your mind over and over again until your subconscious then takes it in as a belief and says, okay, we've done it enough times that now it's a belief.
Okay, so it's almost like imprinting into your subconscious what is a dream or a goal, and making your subconscious feel that it's a reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think if somebody said before, the mind doesn't know the difference between what you're imagining and what's actually happening. And so if you do it enough times, the mind's now going to say, okay, this person is already a successful person. So let's just keep creating the emotions of a successful person. Let's give them thoughts of a successful person so that they can act like a successful person.
That's interesting. That's almost like, I mean, kind of in a negative aspect, but that saying that, if someone lies and tells a lie so many times, they start to believe it,
Believe it. Yeah.
'cause so that's, I mean, throwing that into the positive aspect, telling yourself that you've done it so many times, you start to believe it, and now you don't look at it as impossible. You start to just think of it as just another task that you've done in the past. So it allows you to push yourself farther and allow you to reach a new peak, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what are you doing like now with the gratitude mindset? Do you do like online courses? Do you do seminars? How does that work? And everything?
Yeah. So I do have an online course, Reprogramming Your Subconscious for Success. Um, that just helps people get the layout of what I do. I do one-on-one coaching. I do group coaching with organizations, and then I do speak and do seminars at different places for different companies. And really, my focus is to take this system and give it to people and say, hey, here you go. This is how you're going to change your life to the point where they don't need me or my content anymore, right? Because I believe people can learn this fairly quickly. I try to make it as simple as possible for them to understand and just start applying it now to the point where in 30 days you're going to see a difference, and you're not going to want to stop doing these things. You're going to want to go deeper and make it more difficult and learn more.
Now, with that, I mean, that's awesome, and we'll at the end, we'll have you throw in your plugs and everything. With the gratitude mindset and with mindset in general, how important to you is like reading podcasts and all those other aspects of like personal development?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important. So I've been in self development, like intentionally developing myself for the last 13 years. And, 13 years ago, I was 24. And up until that age, at 24, I knew nothing about self development. I didn't know who Tony Robbins was. I didn't know, any of these names. I was in construction for 6 years, grew up in Hawaii around drugs and violence and abuse and a lot of things. So I knew nothing about this whole industry. But at that age, someone introduced me to Zig Ziglar, Bob Proctor, Les Brown, all the old school guys. I was listening to it, just consuming it. I was like, wow, this is good stuff. Like, where has this been all my life? And from that point on, I started to just look for anyone and everyone that talked about these type of things. Eric Thomas, Gary Vee, and on and on. And I kept listening to them. And I found very quickly I started to speak differently. I started everything I started consuming was different. The music was different. The shows I watched was different. And it's important to do that because if we don't, we're going to keep living the same life. Our life is not going to change. The subconscious is going to stay the same. So I think it's crucial to see that the different ways that other people live in the world. Thankfully, the internet allows us to see how people around the world live, and people are sharing their stories now, like on this podcast. So people are like, "Wow, that guy grew up like this, and now he does this because he did that. I'm going to do that."
Definitely.
I think it is crucial, and over the years, one thing that's helped me a lot is on my drives, I would do podcast audiobooks, and I always tell my clients you get into theta state, a brainwave state, when you're driving the same route. When you drive a very familiar route or you're doing something very familiar, you get into like this daydream state. That's the theta brainwave state. So whatever's happening during that time is going straight into the subconscious. So a lot of podcasts and audiobooks that I've listened to, I'm not much of a reader, so the audio went right into my subconscious, and now I memorize quotes and different sayings from listening to a podcast once because I was doing it in theta state. And so that's helped me a lot over the years as well.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. That all of a sudden you get someone, you're like, wow, I just drove, 20
Yeah.
minutes and I don't even remember the drive that much. You know, that's, I didn't know that's what it was called, the theta state. Um, my one thing I like to always say is like, the world is how you see it, right? The world is a perception of the viewer, right? So I mean, for example, you just described Hawaii in something I would never picture Hawaii. When I think of Hawaii, I think of vacations, beach, all that kind of stuff. And your perception and your view of Hawaii is definitely going to have that different imprint on it because of your growing up. How was your growing up in your childhood, and how do you think that's led you to become who you are with the gratitude mindset?
Oh yeah, it plays a big part for sure. So uh, I grew up. I had four of us, four siblings, mother and father. From the ages, I think all the way up to 10, probably. My father he was an alcoholic and he was abusive. He abused my siblings. I never really got the abuse. I witnessed it. And so I witnessed him abusing my siblings and my mother weekly basis, almost daily, each night. And so a lot of blocked memories for me. But all I know is that I was just terrified, during that time frame. Then I got a little bit older, middle school, high school. My father calmed down, retired, but then they went to harder drugs. So both parents became drug addicts around middle school, high school. And so around the age of 14, I moved with my sister to live with her. She was in her early 20s. She took me in and raised me from that point on. So thankfully to her, I didn't continue to stay around that environment. And then as an adult, I started to go in circles, and I had to leave Hawaii because things weren't going the way I wanted them to go. But as far as childhood goes, yeah, I mean, I had fun. It was awesome in Hawaii, but there were also these other things that kind of programmed me to believe that I wasn't going to be wealthy, and I'm just going to be an average person most of my life. I'm going to do construction and retire there. Like I could never think beyond that until I moved to San Diego and I started seeing what was possible and learning about self development. So I believe there's a lot of people that probably watch this podcast or are out there. They're they have a ceiling and they're limited because of the way they grew up, and so they believe that they can't go much further than the people before them.
No, definitely. And I feel like that's one of those things where you mentioned it earlier. As kids and as adolescents, we have this imagination and we have these big dreams. We're asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Astronaut, the president, X, Y, and Z. And then as we start to get older, it's told to us, be realistic. you know well, what is realistic? Realistic is how you view things, right? So all of a sudden, when you're told this is all you're going to be, you're only going to live in Hawaii, and you're only going to be a construction worker and all these other things, that starts to get imprinted on you and basically constrained your mindset to, this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be. Versus when we're kids, the world is an endless place, right? So I mean, it's one of those things where I think that it's huge bringing that aspect back and really focusing on a gratitude mindset and really focusing on your mindset development, because the world still is endless of opportunity. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, when I was in San Diego, I met people younger than me that seemed to be further in life. I'm like, how did you do that? Like, what's going on here? What's the difference? Why can't I do that, or can I not be that successful? Um, and I started to realize it was just a subconscious. It was this repeating thoughts and beliefs and affirmations over time that caused me to believe that I could only go so far. So I had to give myself these new programs and change it.
No, definitely. And it's almost like I saw this video. This mom was demonstrating to her daughter and trying to explain how you need to be grateful for yourself and have gratitude toward yourself. Where she had two cups. One was like a bigger wine cup filled halfway with water. Another one was like a beer mug or something, but it was filled all the way up with water. And then the mom asked the daughter, which one has more water? This is you and this is the other person. Which one has more water? Which one would you want to be? The little girl points to the full cup. So the mom grabs another wine glass that was half full, pours the beer one into it, and it's like a quarter full. And then explains, just because things seem a certain way doesn't necessarily mean that's how they are. You need to be grateful for what you have, because look, you had more water the whole time. So by you being grateful for that, you'll actually focus on adding more water to your cup and allowing that to overfill into other people's cups.
Yeah, 100%.
So I
There's a
mean,
quote
it's
that
no, go for it.
oh, oh no, there's a quote in the I think it's in the Bible that says, "He that is unfaithful with the least will be unfaithful with much, but he that is faithful with the least will be faithful with much." And so over the years, I thought about that quote and I was like, oh, okay. So if you don't appreciate things you have right now, don't expect to get more. Don't expect to receive more if you can't even appreciate what you have now, right? If you and it's not to say appreciate the hardships or appreciate the tough things in your life. It's about, there's things that are not tough. that come every day that you don't even have to do anything for, that you can appreciate, like your eyesight and your heartbeat and your lungs working. All of these things can be appreciated every day, and that alone makes you feel better, which then helps you attract more things into your life. um, you know Without getting too deep, physics is starting to get into it now, where we vibrate at different frequencies based on how we feel. And so then gratitude is on the frequency scale, it's close to the top. So the more grateful you are, the higher you vibrate, which makes you more magnetic for different opportunities and people to treat you better, and just a lot of different things. So yeah.
No, honestly, I think that does hold weight though. I mean, I know it's newer in that field and stuff, but the vibrations stuff and just opening your mind and putting yourself in that positive mindset, just from my own experiences, like when you feel good and it could be as simple as like you get dressed up, you feel good, so everything the rest of the day, naturally comes and it feels good also, right? Because you're vibrating at a higher frequency because you're feeling good. But when you naturally practice, gratitude, and you're grateful for the things that you have, as you receive more, you're going to be grateful. So going into those quotes that, that quote you just said, if you're not grateful for the things that you have now, when you receive more, you're not going to be grateful for those either. And you're always just going to be looking for more, 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 thinking that's when you'll be grateful and that's when you'll be fulfilled. But someone that's grateful for what they have now, as they receive more, will only increase that gratitude and allow that vibration to increase as well, almost exponentially, aiding in their growth.
Yeah, 100%. When you really think about
So
it, everybody wants the same thing. Everybody
no,
wants to feel better, you know? Like, why do you want the money? So you can feel free. Why do you want the car and the house? So you can feel freedom. um, and gratitude helps you do that. You can have the feeling now, and that'll help you create the results you want versus trying to get the results for the feeling. You get the feelings, and the feelings help you get the results.
hey, there you go. What are your thoughts on? I know your visualization and your focal points and the meditation. I heard someone say it the other day. I was at a conference, and his big thing was not just visualizing it, but writing it down. Like, in his, he didn't actually do the because, like you had said. He would say, I don't want to name drop, but he basically would say, write down on a piece of paper every single day, I am grateful for, and then you write a list of whatever it is, and then you date it, for December 31st, 2024. And by doing that, what he was saying, by doing that, it starts to bring it to your subconscious. Do you feel that that holds weight in putting stuff down on paper versus visualizing stuff, or you just mentally doing it has different weight? And, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah. So for me, my wife is more of a journaler than I am. But my little experience I do have with it last year was a pretty tough summer for my wife and I. We were in Tucson, Arizona. I was out there for a door to door blitz. I was helping a company sell solar out there. And we were staying at an Airbnb. Our lease ended in San Diego. We were on our way to Florida. We had a house in the process and it fell through. So at this point, we kind of became houseless, jumping from Airbnb to Airbnb, not knowing where we were going to live in Florida because everything kept falling through. We had our two dogs with us, as much as we could fit in our car. So we were just like, "Oh man, what's going to happen?" So I grabbed this journal. I was like, you know what? I'm going to use all the tools that I know of. So I grabbed my journal, and every day I would do what you were saying. I would write, "I'm grateful to have received the keys to our new home. I'm grateful that to have found another house and everything went smoothly and it closed escrow." And I would just think of as many sentences as I can, present tense, as it's already happened. And I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I grabbed that book and I was looking through it. I was like, oh, I remember this. I remember writing these things down. Before writing them down, I was kind of like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? But as I was writing them down, and when I was done writing them down, I felt better, right? Because the goal is to feel better. Because feeling better allows you to think and act better. So it's not going to magically appear right then and there. But you're right, it goes to the subconscious, and I let the subconscious handle it. Meaning, now that I've written this down, seen it, received it, and really felt it and imagined it, the subconscious is going to now say, okay, on a daily basis, we need to make sure that the things that we're helping him focus on is aligned with the things he kept writing down and is starting to believe now, right? Because this is what he wants to focus on. So let's not distract him with these worries or these negative thoughts. And so that's what starts to happen is the subconscious then says, okay, I'm gonna help you with this. I'm gonna be on your team. But you have to give it prompts and you have to tell it what you want. Kind of like ChatGPT. If you're not super specific in it, it's not going to kick you out super good answers. So you have to start getting creative and very specific.
So do you think it holds more weight writing it down, or do you think they're even in, it's almost like reading and audiobooks, kind of whoever it fits, it fits?
I think it's more like that. You know, if writing it and seeing it helps you and you can resonate with it, do that. I am more of an audio person. I'm starting to do a video journal instead of writing it down. So I'll just be on here and just watching it, and then I can watch myself and just look at that. Because for me, when I watch it, I can see my energy in the video, my frequency. If I was having a rough day or if I had a really good day, I can kind of resonate with the energy. If I'm feeling down, I'll go watch a journal prompt that where my energy was high, and that'll help lift me up, right? But yeah, I think it's just per person.
Nice. So where can people or actually before that, I like to ask people, what is one piece of advice that has helped you get to where you are, both mindset and entrepreneurial, whatever the case is in your life? What is that one key piece of advice that you would like to leave for the audience?
Yeah, most of the people that I work with know a lot about the things that I would teach. But what the number one thing I hear the most is I want to be more consistent. I need consistency in my life. You know, the morning routines, the evening routines, my emotions are inconsistent. So it all comes back to consistency. So here's my 3 tips to create consistency in your life. Number one is simplicity. Simplicity leads to activity every time, right? But complexity leads to inactivity. So simplify whatever it is you're trying to do to its most simple form. Second thing is flexibility. Flexibility also creates activity versus rigidity, right? Some people make it super rigid. And they're like, you have to do it at this time for this amount of time, or don't do it at all. It's very rigid. There was a time where there was a morning I remember I was like, oh, I don't feel like going to the gym today. But it's like 5 minutes away. So I was like, it's 5 minutes away. You don't have to go for an hour. How long do you feel you could work out for today? I was like, 15, 20 minutes. Okay, then just do that today, right? Better than not doing it. So flexibility, be flexible with yourself and your goals. You know, you don't have to do 20-minute meditations. You can do 1 minute meditations. So be flexible. And then the last thing is low intensity or proper intensity, right? So if you've never done something before, you're not going to go with high intensity. You're going to start small and then build your way up. When you have these 3 things around any habit, you're going to create consistency because it's going to be easy. It has to be easy. If in order to do it over and over again every single day, it has to be. So those are my 3 tips to be consistent in anything.
No, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And where can people find you on social media and or your website?
Yeah. So I'm on all social media platforms. Earl Kapule, you can find me there on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And then my website is earlkapule.com. Uh, I have a free training on there called The Pace of Peace. It's a free training you can grab where I kind of give you an overview of all the exercises or some of the exercises that I teach.
No, it's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on today. I know a bunch of people definitely got, some key nuggets of knowledge from this one because honestly, the gratitude mindset and mindset in general is such a huge thing. So if you're listening right now and you did get something from this, please, leave a review and share it with a friend that could definitely benefit from developing a gratitude mindset. And thank you again, Earl, for hopping on today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.